Hey everybody, welcome to the Catherine Pooler Blog Hub. I'm Christy, and if you haven't been to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So I'm going to show you that card that I made. I'm going to show you real quick how to make it. So what I did first is I used my MISTI stamping tool, and I just stamped a couple of these beautiful little snowflakes around the corner, and then first I actually did the sentiment. So for the sentiment I used the Black Jack ink. So this is like a dark gray, real smoky kind of like charcoal gray ink, and I stamped it a couple times, which is why I used my MISTI. I wanted to make sure I had a really good dark impression. I could have also used Midnight, but I kind of like the softer look, especially because I knew I'd be doing a lot of ink blending with this. Then I aligned some of the snowflakes. So I did the snowflakes in pieces. So I did the top half first, which I'm going to show you on camera, and the bottom half I did off camera. It's kind of repetitive, so I didn't show you again. So I just used some Versamark ink. So it's hard to see. If you've ever used Versamark before, you know if you use darker paper, it's a lot easier to see. But I wanted to heat emboss these with some white embossing powder. So I used the Wow Bright White embossing powder. And I just kind of flick it off. I flick off the excess as I'm doing it. And then now I'm using the heat gun to just activate it. And again, because it's white on white, it's very, very difficult to see. But if you look super close when you're doing it, you can tell when it's finally been activated and all the powder is gone and it just turns into that embossed look. So once that was done, I ended up flipping my card and then doing more stamping on the other side. So then once I completed that, I actually stamped a few snowflakes on a separate piece of the white Catherine Pooler Premium cardstock. So I did the exact same technique that I did for my card. These I decided I was going to die cut out separately. So again, I used my MISTI stamping tool just to make sure I got a good impression using the Versamark ink, covering it with the Bright White Wow embossing powder. So you can kind of, I guess if you look, you might be able to see them up close there. And then those were just, I stamped them far enough apart because I knew I was going to add ink to it, and I was going to add different color ink. So, and I also wanted the space for the die cuts. So here you can see I'm adding some of the ink on there. So I used, I kept with a blue-green color scheme here. So I used the Lime Ricky first, and then that one right now is the Blue Suede Shoes. And then All That Jazz was the third color that I used. So that was the color scheme that I decided to stick with for the whole card. And also I should mention too that if you have a little bit of excess ink on that, on your white embossing powder, just wipe it off with a paper towel and then it comes right off. So then I die cut them out, and die cutting, super easy. All I do is I hold those dies in place with some repositionable tape. I use the purple tape, but you can use even washi tape or painter's tape, whatever works for you. And now I am going to get down and dirty and inky with my card. So I use those same three colors, and I did the same thing that I used a paper towel and wiped off that excess ink. You can kind of see on there the green was kind of sticking a little bit. So just off camera, I wiped it off with a paper towel. And then it keeps it nice and bright and white. So this is called Resist. It's an emboss resist. So basically, because we heat emboss, it is resisting that ink. So right now with that Blue Suede Shoes, I know it looks kind of like messy and dirty, but as soon as that ink starts drying, it actually blends a little bit better. So if you're doing this technique, don't get discouraged. Just keep blending it, adding some more ink in, and then when it dries, it does look, you'll see the completed card, it doesn't look so like pieced together. All the inks actually kind of dry and they blend together really nicely as that ink starts drying. So, you know, don't worry about if you're doing it and you're like, oh, I'm too heavy-handed and everything. And you can also see too, I have like a little post-it note off to the side that lots of times I'll take the ink and then I kind of stamp off, I ink off on that some excess, just because I didn't want to be too heavy-handed. And you can see it's already kind of drying. They're kind of blending together. And then Catherine Pooler ink is awesome because it also reacts with water. So I flick some water on there, and then that way I have some nice water splatters. It makes it a little bit more interesting that I have that embossing on there with the ink and then also some ink splatters as well. Then I just added some 3D foam and assembled the card. To finish everything off, remember those snowflakes that we die cut? I decided to add those on just to give another element to the card. And then to finish everything, I just added some sequins. So for my sequins, I put some glue on a paper towel and then just kind of gently dip them in there with some tweezers. That just works the best for me, so I don't get the glue all over my fingers and then get it onto the card as well. So thank you so much for stopping by today. Hop around. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you out in Blogland. Have a great day. Thanks.